Do you self-sabotage? You might think you don't, but self-sabotage is sneaky. It can look like procrastination, perfectionism, overthinking, avoidance, even staying in the wrong relationship. Did you know that self-sabotage isn't actually a flaw? It's self-protection that's just outdated. It's your nervous system's way of trying to keep you safe based on old patterns. But that old pattern that once helped you survive might now be responsible for holding you back. But there's good news, only good news. When you recognize and begin to integrate the patterns behind your self-sabotage, you release the grip that they have on your decisions, your confidence, your future. You stop playing small. You stop running from success. You begin to feel more in control, clearer, calmer, and free to grow. So, how much are you self-sabotaging without even realizing it? I have a self-sabotage assessment test right here on this wood board. And that's you, and that's me, are going to go through it together. I'll test you on 5 key areas where sabotage commonly hides. And those areas are procrastination, self-esteem, perfectionism, people-pleasing, and emotional regulation. You will rate each one, and by the end, you will have a clear map of your strengths and where you're silently being held back. You will learn more about each subcategory and receive helpful techniques at the end of the test. This test is not about pointing out what's wrong, but about uncovering your unconscious, so you can take aligned, strategic steps to stop sabotaging your own success, stop sabotaging your relationships, and stop sabotaging your peace of mind. And please remember, this is not a validated psychometric test. The mood you're in when you take this test very likely to have an impact on your answers. Are you ready? Wonderful. I will read you a series of statements, and after you hear each statement, I need you to rank how much you agree or disagree with it, using a scale of 1 to 5. 1 means you strongly disagree. 2 means you disagree. 3 is neutral. 4 means you agree. And 5 means you strongly agree. Try to respond to each of the statements quickly and instinctively. Your first reaction, usually the most accurate. And I will circle all of your answers with a pencil. While this is a relaxing experience, and you can just listen and answer, if you want to know your score at the end, I encourage you to write down your answers and number each round, and number each statement as well, because you will need them later. I will guide you through that when we get there. We will be moving through 5 rounds, and I will let you know when each round starts and ends, so you can label them. And we are now starting with round 1. Round 1. There are 10 statements in round 1. So here is statement number 1. Round 1, statement 1. And statement 1 is, you often delay starting tasks until the last minute. As a reminder, you're rating this on a scale between 1 and 5. 1 meaning you strongly disagree. 2 meaning you disagree. 3, neutral. 4 means you agree. And 5, you strongly agree. Making sure to answer each statement honestly, based on how you generally feel or behave. So, how would you rank that statement? You often delay starting tasks until the last minute. Thank you. Statement number 2. You feel anxious So you put them off. 1, you strongly disagree. 5, you strongly agree. Okay. Statement number 3. You regularly say, I'll do it later, even when you know it should be done now. Number 4, you get caught up in small, easy tasks to avoid bigger responsibilities. Number 5, you feel overwhelmed when facing a challenging task and end up avoiding it. Number 6, you start important tasks only under pressure and impending deadlines. Number 7, you avoid tasks if there's any chance you might not do it perfectly. Number 8, you frequently change your plans rather than finish what you started. Number 9, you find excuses to delay tasks you are unsure you can complete. Number 10, you have trouble motivating yourself to do things that are important. And that marks the end of round 1. We are now ending round 1 and entering round 2. There are 10 questions in round 2. To make it easier to track, I will pick up where we left off, so this will be considered statement 11. So round 2, statement number 11. And statement number 11 is, you frequently criticize yourself for small mistakes. Remember to answer quickly and instinctively, with 1 meaning you strongly disagree, 2 you disagree, 3 neutral, 4 you agree, and 5 you strongly agree. So how would you rank that statement? You frequently criticize yourself for small mistakes. Okay. Statement number 12. You have a harsh inner voice that tells you you're not good enough. Statement 13. Even when you succeed, you feel like you just got lucky or fooled others. Number 14. You often doubt your own abilities and feel undeserving of success. Number 15. When you make a mistake, you replay it over and over in your mind. Number 16. You compare yourself unfavorably to others and feel inferior. Number 17. You hesitate to try new things because you fear you won't do them well. Number 18. You focus on your flaws more than your strengths. Number 19. You blame yourself excessively when things go wrong. Number 20. You struggle to accept compliments or praise. And that marks the end of round 2. We are now ending round 2 and starting round 3. We are now in round 3. There are 10 questions in round 3. And again, I'm picking up where we left off. So this will be considered statement number 21. Round 3, statement number 21. Statement number 21 is, you set extremely high, almost impossible standards for yourself. How would you rank that statement about yourself? Answering each statement based on how you generally behave. 1 meaning you strongly disagree, 5 you strongly agree. Statement number 22. You feel upset or anxious unless everything you do is flawless. Statement number 23. You often avoid starting tasks unless you're sure you can do them perfectly. Number 24. You get very discouraged by even minor mistakes. Number 25. You have an all or nothing attitude about your performance. Number 26. You often abandon projects when perfection seems out of reach. Number 27. You worry a lot about meeting others' high expectations. Number 28. You feel very stressed when you have to produce perfect results. Number 29. You sometimes prefer not to try than risk not doing something exactly right. Number 30. You find it hard to finish something unless you know it's perfect. And that marks the end of round 3. We are now ending round 3 and entering round 4. We are now starting round 4. There are 10 questions in round 4, and this will be considered statement 31. Round 4, statement number 31. And statement number 31 is, you often agree to do things you don't really want to do, just to avoid disappointing others. Statement number 32. You worry a lot about what people think of you. Statement number 33. You feel guilty saying no to requests, even small ones. Number 34. You change your opinions or behaviors to fit in with others. Number 35. You dread conflict and will do almost anything to avoid it. Number 36. You look to others for approval before making decisions. Number 37. You put others' needs ahead of your own most of the time. Number 38. You get anxious if someone seems upset with you. Number 39. You avoid doing things or speaking up because you fear being judged. Number 40. You often apologize even when you haven't done anything wrong. And that is the end of round 4. We are now ending round 4 and entering round 5. There are 10 questions in round 5. This will be considered statement 41. Round 5, statement 41. And statement 41 is, you often feel overwhelmed by your emotions and don't know how to cope. Statement 42. You sometimes act impulsively when you're upset or stressed. Statement 43. You tend to withdraw from others instead of asking for help. Statement 44. You skip self-care like sleep, healthy eating, exercise, when you're busy or upset. Statement 45. You make decisions based on your feelings at the moment and later regret it. Statement 46. You have trouble calming yourself down when you're anxious or angry. Statement 47. You use substances, shopping, or other quick fixes to escape stress. Statement 48. You ignore your own needs when you feel consumed by work or worry. Statement 49. You find it hard to stick with routines that support your well-being. Statement 50. You let frustration or impatience get the best of you, and then you feel guilty afterwards. And that marks the end of round 5. Now ending round 5. You have successfully completed the self-sabotage test. To reveal your self-sabotage score, you will need to do some light addition. All you have to do is add the numbers you had per round. You should have 5 total rounds, and each round represents a different subcategory of self-sabotage. So let's start with the first round. I'll give you a moment to add your first round up. You should be adding 10 numbers together for the first 10 statements. And to help you interpret your score, if you scored between 10 and 17, then this area is a strength for you. If you scored between 18 and 34 in any category, you need to pay more attention to this area. And if you scored between 35 to 50 in any category, you need to make this area a priority for personal development. Do you have your score for the first category? The first round? Good. The first round represented procrastination and task avoidance. This is when you consciously or unconsciously delay, avoid, or put off important tasks, even when you know it might lead to negative outcomes. At its core, procrastination is not laziness. It's emotional avoidance. It's often tied to fear of failure, fear of success, perfectionism, low self-worth, burnout, or deregulation. It's not actually about time management, but emotional management. Although avoidance feels safe in the moment, it undermines long-term goals and well-being. If you scored between 10 and 17 here, this is not an area you currently sabotage. You are naturally more proactive. If you scored between 18 and 34, you could benefit from paying more attention to how much you procrastinate. If you scored between 35 and 50, it is highly advised that you prioritize this area for your own personal development. You can do this in several ways. 1, setting clear, manageable goals and using a timer like the Pomodoro technique, and give yourself a small reward for completing each step. Positive reinforcement, even if it's just marking off tasks on a checklist, encourages productivity and replaces the habit of avoidance. Number 2, it might be helpful for you to eliminate distractions like notifications or proximity to your phone during work hours. It would be good to find an accountability partner, someone who is aware of your deadlines so you feel more of an urge to begin work on time. And finally, deep breathing and meditation can help you observe any anxiety without feeling the need to act on it. Now for the second round. Again, adding up the 10 numbers you had for the second round. The second round represented self-criticism and self-esteem. Negative self-talk and low self-esteem are major drivers of self-sabotage. A harsh inner critic undermines confidence and reinforces self-doubt, so you may stop pursuing new opportunities or enjoying successes. Low self-esteem makes you feel undeserving and traps you in a cycle of feeling inadequate or unworthy. These beliefs convince you that you'll fail or you don't deserve success, which in turn cause inaction or self-defeating behaviors. If you scored between 10 and 17 here, you do not experience low self-esteem. If you scored between 18 and 34, you could benefit from building self-esteem. And if you scored between 35 and 50, it is highly advised that you prioritize working on your self-esteem. You can do this by keeping a journal of your thoughts and using thought stopping or reframing. Whenever a negative thought arises, counter it with evidence of your achievements. And within that same journal, keep a list of small successes and write down 5 things each day that you're grateful for. Affirmations are also an excellent resource to reinforce living kindness and unconditional self-worth. Adding up the 10 numbers you had for the third round now. The third round represented perfectionism and fear of failure. Setting unrealistically high standards and fearing mistakes can lead to paralysis or avoidance. Perfectionism creates this all-or-nothing mindset, where if you can't do it perfectly, you may not do it at all. This fear of failure can paralyze you and cause you to avoid important tasks. You end up sabotaging progress by overvaluing perfection and undervaluing effort and learning. If you scored between 10 and 17, you do not experience perfectionism and instead practice self-acceptance. If you scored between 18 and 34, you could benefit from learning tools to handle your fear of failure. And if you scored between 35 and 50, it is highly advised that you prioritize working on perfectionism. You can do this by practicing progressive exposure to imperfection. Gradually give yourself permission to make mistakes. For example, deliberately do a task at 80%, or allow a tiny flaw and note that the world doesn't end. Continue to intentionally remind yourself that mistakes are part of learning, and that good enough often yields real progress. It might also benefit you to develop some sort of relationship with a higher power, whatever that might look like to you. Many spiritual teachings encourage letting go of outcomes and trusting the flow of a higher force, which can help reduce anxiety and the need for control. And finally, put a limit to the amount of times you endlessly tweak something. Now, adding the 10 numbers you had for the fourth round. The fourth round represented people-pleasing and social approval. Putting other people's needs before your own and fearing judgment, those can sabotage your goals. People-pleasing involves seeking approval from others, which can cause burnout and resentment. You may sacrifice your own priorities and authenticity to avoid conflict and gain acceptance. If you scored between 10 and 17 here, you have a secure sense of self. If you scored between 18 and 34, you could benefit from setting boundaries. If you scored between 35 and 50, it is highly advised that you prioritize assertiveness and boundary setting. A few ways you can do this are saying no in low-stakes situations to build confidence. Allow yourself alone time when it's needed, and ground yourself by understanding your own internal values rather than external validation. Totaling your numbers for the 5th round now. The 5th round represented emotional regulation and impulse control. Impulsive behavior and poor emotional regulation are strongly linked to self-defeating actions. For example, reacting too quickly out of anger or stress can derail long-term plans, and neglecting self-care like sleep or nutrition increases vulnerability to anxiety and fatigue. If you scored between 10 and 17 here, you are emotionally aware and you don't struggle to self-regulate. If you scored between 18 and 34, you could benefit from developing more conscious responses. And if you scored between 35 and 50, stress and emotions often override your intentions, causing decisions that hurt rather than help. Techniques to improve emotional regulation include mindfulness-based stress reduction, taking the steps to be mindful of your triggers, and then placing yourself in timeouts whenever you experience a flare-up. For example, when you feel an urge to act impulsively by doing things like overspending, binging, or shouting, do something simple like drink a glass of water or go for a walk to give the urge time to pass. Meditation is also a huge one here because it allows you to develop that mindfulness so that you can choose healthier responses. Yoga and chanting are also great at assisting with this. And prioritizing self-care. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, a consistent sleep schedule, those will all help stabilize your mood. Thank you. You did something today many people avoid for years. You looked inward. You got honest. You brought to light the places where sabotage might be silently leading the way. That takes courage. But even more than that, it takes self-love. Because you wouldn't be here taking a test like this if there wasn't a part of you that already knows you're ready. Ready to grow. Ready to stop repeating the same old patterns. To stop shrinking when you want to expand. To stop protecting yourself from a version of pain that isn't happening anymore. Self-sabotage doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've learned a way to survive and you're outgrowing it. Those scores you added up, they're not who you are. They're just a map, a mirror. They show you where you might need more compassion, more structure, more breath. Take your time integrating what came up for you. And if you feel resistance, that's okay. That's just another layer of protection, asking if it's safe to let go. You can answer it softly. Yes, it's safe now. You are safe. You are safe. You're growing. You're already doing the work. Be proud of that. The more you check in with yourself, the clearer your path becomes. You don't need to rush. You don't need to be perfect. Just stay with yourself. Be curious. Be kind. You're not behind. You're becoming. And wherever you go from here, you're free to take your next aligned step without sabotage. So sleep well or move gently into the rest of your day. You're doing beautiful.